Hey YouTube. So I've been riding the bike around a little bit lately. It's been really good fun. I did get the photo shoot done, but I have a bigger issue at the moment to fix because I can't ride the bike. What's happened is this is a combination sprocket and brake. So the caliper grips the sprocket for the rear brake. And what's actually happened is this asshole bolt here, look, like I didn't fit this bolt to the hub there. That was sort of joined together already, but obviously they haven't used Loctite. And this bolt here has made its way out, or wound its way out while I was riding. It's very hard to see, but there we go, there's a bit of focus. It's milled its way, you can see where the bolt head is of another one. It's milled its way through the fucking bracket for the disc brake. So that's the bracket there that it's hanging on by probably 2 mil of aluminium. I've undone this and I've had to pull the axle out because the bracket's actually circular at the end and the axle goes through it, so I've had to pull that out. I'm really avoiding taking apart the chain here, which in a perfect world you just loosen off the chain and then be able to drop the whole wheel out, but because of the shape of my rear guard here, it doesn't want to let go of the wheel while the chain's on. So I'm trying to cheat, and I'm going to take this bolt out and I'm going to rotate this sprocket around because the only thing stopping this bracket coming out is one of the bolt heads. So I'll rotate it around to the bolt head that I just removed, and then I'll be able to pull that out and see if I can repair it. Cool. So yep, as planned. So that removing that bolt head, which I had to come out anyway because the bolt's stuffed. That's it there. Allowed me to pull this out without disassembling dropping the whole tyre, which is good. And as you can see, this is the fucking problem right here. There's bugger all meat holding that together. 1 mil, 2 mil. So I don't know if this is possible, but I have seen videos where they heat using a butane torch. The heat, because it's billet, it's one-piece billet aluminium. And what I've seen in videos is they get a butane torch and they melt rods into it. They get it up to, I think it's got to be above 650 degrees Celsius, and then they melt aluminium rods into it, and that fills in all the puddle, merges with the billet piece, and in theory restores it to a reasonable strength, which at the moment would be anything better than what's here. It's a HHI part, which you can see, and I'm pretty disappointed. What the go is, this bracket, this is the price of it, just blew my mind. $695 for this bracket. Just for the bracket. That doesn't even include anything else. If you want that sprocket, this bracket, some pads and the rest of the caliper parts, bolts and such, $745. So the bracket makes up 90% of the price, and there's no way I'm paying $700 for a bracket. So this is gonna get repaired one way or another. Yeah, I'll keep you updated. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. I just went down to a fabrication joint in just a local place, and they fixed up the bracket for me in record time. They just did it in a couple of hours. They've added heaps more meat back to the bracket, and yeah, they've done a really good job the way they've tapered it, how it was originally, rather than just fill the weld. So yeah, I'm gonna fit it back in and see how it goes. So I thought I'll give you a quick look before I fit it back. But see, that was tapered down, which and that was tapered back up again, which he's followed. And yeah, she really no, it looks good, way better than I expected. And also, you know, done in a couple of hours, which getting anything done on the same day you deliver it is really something. So that's cool. I got the bike apart. Had to remove the chain guard. See, the problem was the bloke who fitted this sprocket to this hub here didn't Loctite the bolts. So when I pulled them out, they're all like this, and they're clean as a whistle. So they were never Loctited, and that's why this particular bolt wound its way out, and as it's been going around, it milled away the bracket for the brake. So yeah, anyway, I'll put it back together and we should be back on the road. So she's all back together now. I counted several issues. The first one being getting the actual bracket repaired. Being an alloy, I had to find someone who was skilled in repairing it without having it, I guess, deform, or because obviously the disc brake clearances and that have to be pretty up to spec there. And the second thing is finding someone who could do it in a short period of time, because I want to ride the bike away for the weekend. The other thing was the bolts that hold the sprocket to the wheel hub. They weren't easy to find, which is these ones here. And so I've actually replaced them with these Allen key head bolts, which are high tensile. But the big problem here being I can no longer take the sprocket, or at least loosen the bolts for the sprocket while the sprocket's in place, because obviously that section of the frame covers all of the sprocket bolts. So you have to pull the axle before the wheel falls out, and then you can undo the bolts, which I didn't really think about. I just thought as long as they could recess into that sprocket, they'd be fine, but a little bit of an error on my part. I damaged the wiring here, getting the wheel back in, which that's all soldered and fixed up now so that it can't be damaged. It was actually getting damaged by the chain as it went around, because this was on the other side and there's very little clearance here. So I've moved it to this side now, and although aesthetics wise it doesn't look as good, at least I know it won't get hit on the weekend when I go for this ride, and should stay out of the way. Another thing that happened, these grub screw, this is a grub screw that goes into the frame and then pushes the axle back to give the chain tension. It snapped, so I had to fish that out. That was a mission. But she's all back together, and I've just checked the indicators and everything. All good. So I'll go on a test ride tomorrow, and fingers crossed everything should be sweet from here. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, and next episode you'll catch the photo shoot pictures with the bikini model, and some other stuff that's going on with bikes, and maybe a new project that I've started.